Let me welcome you to this latest recording on the Partner Solutions portal. I'm Bob Evans, and I'm the Pre-Sales and Solutions Director for the Partner Ecosystem in EMEA. And today I'm delighted to welcome the team from Insight, and they're going to be talking about their Profitability for Bank solution. We're going to do this in two recordings, so you're going to get a bonus here. Firstly, we're going to have Gregor. We'll talk about the company, we'll talk about the solution and the benefits of the solution. We'll close that with a short Q&A. And then we'll also switch to a second recording where we give a much more detailed insight into the actual solution, the technology, the implementation. And again, that will give you a chance to understand in much more detail how it would be relevant for your organization. And for that second session, Gregor will be joined by Simona to talk about some of those aspects. So with that, let me hand over for Gregor for today's session.
Thank you. So hello everyone, my name is Gregor Jerkic. I'm the CEO of company Insight, and today we'll talk about our solution for the profitability in the banking sector. So our company is called Insight. We've been in this business of analytical solutions implementations for almost 20 years. We have now 60 consultants, and our focus when it comes to, let's say, technology, we are very focused on the cloud first since 2016, so we are quite mature in this area also. Our main industry focus is banking and insurance. So we have a lot of, let's say, regional group of banks and insurances in the Adriatic region that we work with, and we also do some activities in the Middle East. We have the largest Qatar bank, and also in Western Europe. Okay, so we are an IBM Gold business partner. We've been from the beginning, let's say when we started our company a good 10 years ago. We've been an IBM partner and did quite a large implementations in our region. What is important from our side is also that all of our consultants are, let's say, a mixture of business and technical skills. So because this, what we believe is very important when we come to different analytical solutions, similar as the one that I will present to you today. So in general, what we do analytical solutions. It means we do different advisory and consulting when it comes to data strategy and let's say different analytical areas that you would like to implement. Then of course, it's always data preparation, data warehousing, cloud data migrations, and of course, for I think even more than 15 years, we had people working on different data science projects, which are getting, let's say, now more and more interesting. So this is, let's say, our main focus. Let's say I call it just analytics, what we do. So the question now, why we have developed the solution for the banking when it comes to profitability is, of course, we work a lot with different banks, and these were some of the requirements of them. So we learned by their, let's say, business needs. And on the other hand, what was always the reason for this was that banks are now facing huge pressure from different sides. So from one side, it's the competition, and the other side, it's of course the regulatory requirements which are rising each day. And at the end, what is needed is to calculate, let's say, all the details about specific arrangement, about specific clients. So it's no longer enough that you calculate, let's say, what is your expected profit and loss on the segment level, but you want to drill down to really understand your business. So because of that, that was one of the things that we see, like, say, how we can do this. But there are, of course, challenges when we come to this area. So the problem is that how to do this. So on one hand, the client would like to be able to drill down to the customer and deal level, but on the other hand, each structure of each bank, how they track profitability can be different. And the data that is required can be quite on different level of granularity. That means something can be really analytical and some things will come from general ledger that will be quite aggregated. And the other hand, you have the business controlling view and the finance controlling view, and you want somehow to align these two because you want to have some reconciliation between them. And the current process in the majority of the banks is really semi-manual, we call it. So the data is somewhere, but the controlling does a lot of those activities in Excel. And of course, they can do it only on some aggregated level of the segment. It's impossible to go to the lower level because even a small medium bank can quickly have on monthly basis, let's say 6 to 7 million of rows of different data that is needed for profitability. So that's the one part that we saw also in terms of technology, why it's important how to automate this process. And of course, the business would like always to challenge, because we are in the, let's say, each day we see new business opportunities, new business challenges, and want to change something, want to predict something, try to, let's say, simulate something. So we want to change some of the parameters, how we calculate the profitability, and how to do this scenario modeling was one of the main challenges that we saw that the business is facing. But at the end, when we discuss how do you really want to see this solution, they said at the end, they want to automate it, of course. On the other hand, they want to be independent. So business wants to be independent. And on the other hand, IT would like that business takes the responsibility. So it has to be business-oriented application. And of course, if you gather all this data, you want to have, of course, fast reporting, that you don't have to wait for something. So, and when it comes to banks like to have an open solution. They don't want to have some black box. They want to integrate it into their existing environment. And because of the cloud and possibilities also of the IBM solutions, they want some powerful backend database that would be able to calculate this quickly. Because everything sounds nice, but I don't want to wait a day to perform some calculation. I want to do it as fast as possible. So these were some of the wish lists that then decided also how we want our solution to focus. So at the end, what is our solution, or what does it consist of? So we have three main areas. So we have a business application where business users can map all their business rules. It means cost allocation, structures of classifications, and etc. Then you have a powerful analysis and reporting module built on top of Cognos Analytics so that they can analyze the business. But the main part of our solution is that what is hidden. It means it's our data calculation layer. So here we have different areas how we can ingest the data, transform the data, and calculate it. So these are the three main pillars that we address in our platform. So as I said, the main area is our calculation engine that can be integrated, and it uses the parallel processing of IBM database technology so that we can do some things very, let's say, efficient. Because in profitability, just to understand, maybe we have, let's say, 10,000 euros of costs on specific cost center, and now we would like to allocate this to 100,000 different arrangements based on some cost allocation. So we multiply a lot the data so that at the end we can really calculate the profitability on each deal level, which means that we will quickly get, let's say, billions of rows in our calculation engine, and that's why it has to perform fast, and it has to be on the database layer. So in terms of business applications, just to understand a quick overview, we'll go more into details in another session. So we have these main areas, as I said, classifications to manage all the master data, all the hierarchies. Then we have the main contribution margin schema mapping where you can put all your business rules, and then a huge module for cost allocation because each bank is completely different, and we support bottom-up allocations and top-down cost allocation so that we can have different possibilities. At the end, what I would also like to show is that we support our predefined data model consists a lot of important banking metrics. So we have the predefined reporting so that we can support a group of banks and their subsidiaries like we see in this example. So we have a group level where we have important KPIs of risk, RAROC, RORAC, and cost to income ratio. We can see different net interest income, how it's divided, and we can then see different contributions by each segment, for example. So all the reporting is completely flexible and open. So these are just some examples to see a little bit better what our solution can offer. And then you can drill down your profit and loss statement. It's completely dynamic. You can see it by each segment. You can compare it. You can filter it by product, by client, by organization unit. And you can see also the breakdown. Then we have this contribution chart so that you can quickly see which parts bring revenue, which parts bring cost, and how at the end each part of the contribution looks like. So this is, I think, very important. What is also important is that we don't cover only subsidiary levels, but also group of banks. So if you are a larger banking group, our solution is tailored also to your needs. But it's not just aggregated data, as I said. You can do also standard reports like top 10 clients, let's say, and drill down to the specific customer profitability. So we have a finance view of the client. So we have the customer data. You can see all the arrangements that you have for specific client. And then you can see your profit and loss on the customer level, which is very, very important. So we cover also group of companies. And then you can see important KPIs, some trends, and etc. So this is something that we see then at the end a huge benefit for the business. So at the end, the solution is built on IBM proven technology. As I said, we are focusing on IBM Cloud Pak for data. We focus especially on Cognos Analytics, and we support both analytical databases, so DB2 Warehouse and IBM Netezza. So our application is built on .NET Core, so we can use different core build packs that are available inside the IBM Cloud. Optional, we can have integration like we have with some larger clients with IBM predefined banking model. And if you're using IBM Watson Knowledge Catalog, to have all the terms defined there and integrated with our application. So this is, let's say, a quick overview how our solution looks like. And if you would like to see a little bit more deep dive, we will we'll have recorded another session where we go with Simona into details how each part looks like.
So, Gregor, listen, thank you very much. A really good walk through both your company, but also your solution. And we are going to, as we said at the beginning, we're going to give people the opportunity to look at a more detailed recording. But perhaps there's a couple of questions, if I may, that I can cover before we wrap up this session.
Oh, sure.
So you've sort of outlined briefly some of the capability of it, but perhaps you can talk about, can a bank do scenario modeling with profitability?
Yeah, this is one of the areas that we found very important for the banks. It means all of the business rules and setup are under specific scenario, and business can open a new scenario and say, okay, in this scenario, we will allocate costs differently. We will not allocate it by, I don't know, number of people, but by some, let's say, exposure rating or something like that. And they can recalculate. And then in reporting, you have both scenarios available, and you can quickly see what would be the impact. So this is something that we found, let's say, quite important for our clients.
Okay, good. And I know that's something that does come up with some of our financial clients. A couple of other questions just around the markets that you cover, and also to just talk about perhaps one of your larger clients. But you mentioned some at the beginning, and obviously this recording is accessible by an EMEA audience, so any potential IBM or customer across EMEA. Do you cover all of EMEA in terms of banks if they were interested in the solution, or have you got any other sort of geographical limitations?
No, currently we work, let's say, our target is the whole EMEA. So as I said, we have already some larger clients in Middle East. And our, let's say, current, let's say, largest client using our solution is the regional banking group, the largest one. So they have 8 subsidiary banks, and they're, let's say, the biggest one currently using our solution. But based on your question, yes, we can discuss any client in the EMEA region with no problem.
Okay, and again, in terms of potential banks or IBMs who would like to talk more, you're more than happy to talk about some of those potential client situations where you're already doing business in terms of the capability.
Yes, exactly. This is some of the, let's say, things that we see, because we bring this banking knowledge. Let's say Simona, that will join in that detail, she worked in a larger banking group in Europe, so she has a lot of knowledge about the risks. She worked there in a risk sector a long time. So, and we have similar, our colleagues that worked in the banking sector, and this mixture, let's say, of business know-how and very strong IBM technical knowledge, I think it's a good mix when it comes to such solutions.
Yeah, well, we know that, and this is something that very, very often can be the differentiator for a partner in terms of being able to be successful. So that's good to hear. So listen, thank you very much, Gregor, for a really good insight into the offering and your company. For people who have watched this, clearly we hope you found this valuable. There will be a second recording for you to go to, which will give you more detail, and Simona will be joining that, who you just heard about her from Gregor then. If you found this valuable, please also do share it with your colleagues so we can spread the word about the profitability solution. And please do look out for future recordings as part of the Partner Solutions portal. So with that, I'll thank Gregor and close today's session.